Look at that, man.
Sir.
Yeah.
Great
Still
play.
on him. Go, dive,
Great
dive.
play.
Welcome back, Falcons Faithful. This is Patrick with the Falcons Roost, ready to give you another update on our beloved Atlanta Falcons. Today, we will be taking a bigger look at the linebacking crew for the Atlanta Falcons going into the 2024 season. There is a very big microscope that will be placed on them to create a pass rush for the team. So let's first take a look at who will be guaranteed a spot on the 53-man roster. Troy Anderson, middle linebacker. Anderson began the 2023 season as the starter in the middle before he was injured in Week 3 against the Detroit Lions. Anderson showed major promise in his first 2 games as the starter. He played at a level in the middle the Falcons had desperately needed since the breakout rookie season of Deion Jones back in 2016. But he was replaced by undrafted free agent Nate Landman. Nate Landman, middle linebacker. Landman was a post-draft signing by the Falcons in 2023 and made the 53-man roster as a special teams player. He was elevated to starting middle linebacker due to the injury to Anderson and made the best of it. He immediately began to turn heads with his vicious tackling style, forbidding the opposing team's rush to go his direction, as well as his incredible awareness in coverage of tight ends seeking to exploit the middle of the field. It will be an interesting battle in training camp to see whether Anderson regains his starting role or has to fall into a backup role to the second-year player. Caden Ellis, middle linebacker. Ellis was a free agent pickup last season from the New Orleans Saints and quickly became one of the bright spots on the Falcons' defense. His ability to go from sideline to sideline, while also capable of coming in on a blitz, landing him 4 sacks on the season to go with his 82 total tackles. Like defensive end Zach Harrison, Ellis came on strong at the end of the season to land 2 of his 4 total sacks in the last 3 weeks of the season. Odds are strong he will be starting the season opposite either Troy Anderson or Nate Landman. J.D. Bertrand, middle linebacker. Bertrand played in 50 games for the Fighting Irish, recording 266 tackles, 23 tackles for loss, 9 passes defensed, 6 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. He was named a 2-time team captain and earned the 2023 Notre Dame Father Ted Man of the Year award. He will come into the season cutting his teeth on special teams. He was highly recommended to coach Raheem Morris.
Very complete football player. I think football player is going to be a buzzword that's thrown around a lot with him. Loves the game, competes at a high level every single day, very consistent, and you can see it on the film. I mean, he was a very productive player.
That wraps up the inside linebacking core for 2024, so let's move to the outside linebackers. A place that desperately needs someone to step in to provide a much-needed rush off the edges. Arnold Ebiketie, outside linebacker. Ebiketie worked himself into the starting roster under prior coach Arthur Smith. He's quickly become a fan favorite and will likely battle third-round draft choice in 2024, Braylon Trice, for the starting position. According to Pro Football Focus, Ebiketie earned a 70.1 PFF pass rush grade, came up with 6 sacks, and finished with a strong 16.6% pressure rate in 2023. He did this on just 175 pass rush snaps across 17 games, making him their breakout player for 2024. Braylon Trice, outside linebacker. As a sophomore for the Washington Huskies in 2022, Trice played in 12 games and took part in 557 snaps for the Huskies. He recorded 13 tackles, 12 assists, while adding 14 stops. As a pass rusher, he chalked up 67 total pressures and 44 QB hurries, 15 QB hits, and 8 sacks during the year. In 2023, he added 12.5 QB pressures and 7 additional sacks. He will be brought in to fight for the spot currently occupied by Arnold Ebiketie. Lorenzo Carter, outside linebacker. Carter was the de facto starter last year and will likely man that spot again in the 2024 season. He had a very up-and-down year, showing up randomly on plays, but never really became a force on the edge that the Falcons desperately needed. Carter signed a 2-year, $9 million contract with the Falcons last season, after spending his first 4 NFL seasons with the Giants. If he were to be cut before the June 1st deadline this Saturday, it would free up $3.7 million. Odds are good he will stay in Atlanta, but with a new coaching staff in place, it's anyone's guess at this point. D'Angelo Malone, outside linebacker. Malone was needed depth last season, but he never really found his groove on the defense. This will be a make-or-break season for the third-year player from Western Kentucky. He will have plenty of opportunities to step up and show the team he can be a vital part of this new defense under Jimmy Lake. And that does it for the top linebackers going into the 2024 season. I would expect everyone mentioned to make the 53-man roster and head into the season as the crew Raheem Morris will suit up on Sundays. Other current camp bodies include Milo Eifler, Donovan Mutin, and Bradley Anay. Perhaps one of those young players can show something to the coaches the way that Nate Landman did last season and find a way to make the team this year. Ultimately, I would expect the season to start with Caden Ellis and Nate Landman holding down the middle, while Arnold Ebiketie and Lorenzo Carter provide the rush off the edge. But what do you think? Will Nate Landman lose his starting job now that Troy Anderson is back in action this season? Will Braylon Trice impress coaches enough in the OTA camp and in preseason to become a starting outside linebacker? Get in the comments and let us know your thoughts. Have a great week, everyone, and we will see you soon with more news and notes on our beloved Falcons. But until then, cue the outro.